Hello everyone, welcome back to STW Sports. I'm host Sam, you're right, here with Liverpool fan Joshua Myatt. So Josh, what's it like supporting a club like Liverpool?
It's obviously, we've had great achievements in the past, but it's been a bit, we've sort of had to go through the ringer, haven't we? So it's been different supporting a club like Liverpool with great achievements, and you've got to sort of fall back on them achievements constantly. So you're going up against, there's seasons when you're not expected to challenge for the title, and our fans don't want that at the end of the day, do they?
Of course.
We want to be at the top of the, we've had seasons out the Champions League, even out the Europa League half the time, partially.
Yeah, that's
so
it.
we've been through the ringer, haven't we, Liverpool fans?
Yeah.
But we've always been in the Premier League, so there are certainly fans that have had it a lot worse than what we have had.
Yeah, of course. You've been watching Liverpool since 2006.
Yeah.
Of course, you've experienced many finals, many ups and downs. What would you say is the best thing you've seen as a Liverpool fan in your 14 years?
I would probably say it's certainly this recent Liverpool team. I would probably say. What we've achieved recently.
Yeah, absolutely.
Getting to the Champions League final, losing to Madrid, which was obviously a disappointing game. Europa League final, we lost to Sevilla. Of course, disappointing times, but at the same time, it was our first few finals in a while, so it was sort of enjoying the ride of being a Liverpool fan at that point. But then we had the Champions League final against Tottenham. We got two great games against Barcelona, Bayern Munich. And obviously a couple of title tilts in the last two seasons. We won the Premier League obviously last season, and the season before was just 1 point off. So certainly this recent Liverpool team is on memory.
Yeah.
The best Liverpool team that I've watched and witnessed, to be honest.
Yeah, of course. Got to touch on the lows as well, unfortunately, Josh. The darkest days as a Liverpool fan. I think I know what your answer's going to be.
The Roy Hodgson era,
yeah,
of course.
Absolutely.
When, I think even Roy Hodgson said in some of his interviews, he basically turned around and said, we're not big enough to get relegated, so we're going to be in the fight, basically.
Yeah,
he actually said.
And can't say that as a Liverpool manager.
No, you just
Absolutely
can't say
not.
that as a Liverpool manager. Some of the signings that we had that season, I can't believe I was actually excited for the season at the time.
Yeah,
Seeing pictures of Joe Cole, Konchesky,
Jovanovic.
Of
course, I remember Arsenal played Liverpool in the opening day of that season, and it was just a Liverpool team now, and you think, wow.
It was a weird game, but considering I actually look forward to that season, maybe not to challenge. We knew we weren't going to challenge that season. I think Torres was injured for the first few games that season, so we had a couple of decent players, but certainly dark times back then. Under the ownership, obviously, as well. I think we were close to administration.
Yeah.
So we were signing a bunch of freebies, to be honest, at that time. Joe Cole was probably the most exciting signing, and he was probably
that was a past it, Joe Cole, with a lot of injuries as well.
Yeah.
And of course, when you first started watching Liverpool, then your manager at the time was Rafa Benitez. Got great memories of Rafa, of course. Champions League win, FA Cup win, very nearly winning the Premier League in 2009. Like, you still hold a special place in your heart for Rafa? Yeah,
of course we do. I think all Liverpool fans do. I think at the same time, the brand of football wasn't the most exciting.
Yeah.
It couldn't be. I don't think we had the team to be exciting at that time. So Rafa Benitez will always, to get 2005 Champions League, that team wasn't anywhere near of the level of standard to should be winning the Champions League, really.
Yeah, of course.
Then obviously the FA Cup final, and obviously a title tilt as well.
He developed a better team over time, didn't he, Benitez? But he didn't quite get to the very unlucky not to win the Premier League. But you were up against a very good Man United team that season, so that's easy to remember.
I think we doubled Manchester United that season.
Did,
but I think it was in the lesser games that we struggled, and that's where United
too many draws. Of course, we've touched on the dark days and Roy Hodgson. After that came Kenny Dalglish, who was brought in to steady the ship. Do you think Dalglish did his job successfully, and do you think you moved on at the right time from Dalglish?
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, he was brought in to completely just steady the ship, not make us, and he did make us slightly better, but he wasn't in to make us better. He was just brought in purely and intentionally. Someone that the fans could get behind. Roy Hodgson, I wouldn't even say divided the fans, he just literally had the whole fans obviously against him straight away. So I think we had to bring in someone that the fans loved, and he stabilised the club, got us playing a better brand of football as well, without making too many changes, but he did get us up the table and he did his job, but we also let him go at the same time, because he couldn't handle the press really.
Yeah,
he was a bit past it with the press.
I think he was past it when his days were gone, but he did his job steadying the ship. But he was never the manager in the long run, was he?
I mean, how he dealt with the Suarez situation.
Yeah, of
even
course.
Kenny Dalglish is phenomenal and hold all respect to him, but he could have handled that case a whole lot better, and it was shown that he was a bit past it at that point, to be honest.
After the Kenny Dalglish days, we had the Brendan Rodgers days, so close to winning the Premier League in 2014, but the Rodgers run overall was very hit and miss, wasn't it? What are your memories of Rodgers?
Overall good, but also at the same time I don't think it was sort of built on Brendan Rodgers. I mean, the first season I don't think was really great under Rodgers.
I mean, that was a transition season, but I know what you mean though. Yeah, it certainly wasn't great, especially in defence.
And of course, the season after we very nearly sort of won the Premier League, but that was built on, a lot of it was Suarez, and I think Rodgers' ineptitude sort of cost us in a couple of games when we could have won the title, but he was the first manager in quite a few years to actually lead us.
And that Chelsea game being the big one when he could have just played for a draw maybe, got a bit too carried away.
Yeah, that was a massive game under the Rodgers tenure, to be honest.
I mean, everyone knew what Jose was going to do in that game, didn't they? So Rodgers just unfortunately didn't play to that. That kind of let you down.
We should have just sort of, the whole Gerrard slip, obviously. If there were defenders behind him, that would have never happened, but we were that focused on getting the goal. That was our brand of football that year.
Yeah, of course. That was it.
Best way to defend was attack. Was
very entertaining, but very hot for Liverpool fans. Not good for the heart at times.
No, of course not. No.
Of course, after Brendan Rodgers came Jurgen Klopp, and of course we all know Liverpool fans' thoughts on Klopp. But what a transition in 5 years it's been. But what are your thoughts on Klopp? Of course, we all know the answer. But
of course, thoughts? Brilliant. But it was slow to start off with. He sort of came into the team and never changed things around dramatically at first, did he? He sort of, I think he came in, when was it? Was it October?
October 2015, yeah.
So he sort of came in then, and he had a while to work with until transfer windows, until he could get his own. So he sort of looked at the squad at that point, and I remember the first game against Tottenham.
0-0 draw.
Yeah, it was quite a dull game. Wasn't the best game on the eye.
Proved where you're at that point, really, Liverpool. That's what it did.
And our team on paper, it looks so different to what it is actually now.
Absolutely, yeah.
I think there's only there must be about two or three players maybe still left in the squad, maybe.
Not many, of course. You've got the likes of Jordan Henderson, James Milner, certain Firmino as well. Not too many though, of course. The players Klopp's brought in there, he's got his signing spots on. One about the likes of Mane, Salah, Van Dijk, Alisson. These impact these players have made and how he's turned them into world-class players.
A lot of opposition fans had doubts. I remember over Sadio Mane. A lot of people
absolutely.
And he was hit and miss at Southampton. Sadio Mane was. I think he had 2 months on where he was probably in brilliant form, and then he sort of went off the boil.
Potential was there, but it wasn't consistent there. But at Liverpool, it's been absolutely that.
So the signings have been spot on from him, and I think it's been built on sort of years of just progression, really. Every single year we've took a little bit of a step up.
Of course, Klopp's first season, we'll touch on the 2 cup finals. Of course, Man City losing on penalties, that can happen in a cup final. But the one that I think hurt Liverpool fans the most was the Sevilla Cup final. I touched on this in my last interview, but did that hurt you a lot, or did that make you think this team's a work in progress and it make you think more to the future more than the day?
I mean, it obviously hurt at the time, there's no doubt about that. Losing any sort of final you don't want to do, especially as a Liverpool fan. Certainly in a final where, I think, not that we were probably outright favourites against Sevilla, but we were favoured.
Sevilla had the know-how in the competition, though, didn't they? They'd won it 2 years prior. They had a proven manager at the time in Unai Emery. Former Arsenal coach, of course, but
of course.
But
it certainly showed, that final showed that we were just a work in progress at the time.
Being 1-0 up as well, of course, certainly didn't help.
Yeah, of course it didn't. No.
After that final, the next season, you actually went on to finish 4th, sealing it on the last day of the season. That was certainly Middlesbrough with a 3-0 victory. That was certainly a big step forward as well for getting back in the Champions League. And the year after was the Real Madrid final. Very disappointing, of course, to lose that. But again, at the time, did that feel like you're a work in progress again? And that because you were in a final with a Real Madrid team who just won 2 Champions Leagues, had many world-class players, one of the best teams in the modern era. Again, and you hung with them well. Of course, Salah going off injured never helped. But did that again make you think this team's going somewhere? Yeah,
I think it did. The way that we sort of played in that final, I think overall we sort of hung with them. If it wasn't for...
Of course, we all know the reason you lost as well.
Of course, Loris Karius and goalkeeper errors. And Gareth Bale scored one hell of a goal. Probably the best Champions League final goal that is
absolutely
certainly up there, I think, anyway.
I can't think of many, but maybe Zidane in 2002, but I can't think of many better.
But that was a phenomenal Madrid team. And we did hang with him. Mo Salah sort of went off injured, didn't he?
Your best player that season as well.
Yeah, and I think that was when he had the season when he scored about
42 goals, I think it was. 42.
So he was phenomenal for us at that point. But no, we were certainly a work in progress at the time. But we certainly never expected to get to the Champions League final the year after. That was a big achievement in itself.
I was going to say as well, the year after there was the Champions League final against Tottenham. For the neutral, not the best game, but for a Liverpool fan, it was a dream game really. And to lose out narrowly on the title to Man City after only losing one game that season, which was to Man City, it must have been so relieving to get that trophy. And the sixth Champions League as well, and again against English opposition. How did that final feel?
I mean, immense really, to be honest. I mean, even watching the game, even as a Liverpool fan, we were quite relaxed, to be fair. Liverpool fans were actually enjoying the game, and it felt a little bit like a Premier League game, didn't it, really?
It did, it was a very busy Premier League game.
So it certainly didn't have the feel of a Champions League final game, and that's even coming from a Liverpool fan, but the dream, the game couldn't have gone any better. We won it comfortably in the end. Obviously, I think we only had one goal lead until, what was it, the 86th minute or something like that.
I mean, just weird, because going into the final, we saw two of the best semi-finals ever. Liverpool-Barcelona, of course. I mean, I'll ask you your feelings on that as well. After you lose 3-0 in the Nou Camp, you must have been thinking it's over, but, and with your likes of Firmino and Salah injured going into that, and Andy Robertson went off injured in the game as well at Anfield. You must have thought there's not a chance in hell, but no, Divock Origi and Gini Wijnaldum off the bench stepped up.
I didn't give us a chance in hell, to be honest, in actually coming back, even with our greatest history of actually comebacks and stuff like that, but with players out. Barcelona, they only had to score one goal, which most people, 9 times out of 10, and this was a better Barcelona team than what they are currently. This was a Barcelona team that
is in free fall at the moment in a way.
It was a different Barcelona team.
I mean, they did have that game against Roma a year prior when they did lose, of course
they did.
Roma did have an away goal at the same time, so that maybe give them a bit more of a chance, but with Liverpool, say Barca get one goal and it's probably over.
And that's what all Liverpool fans thought. We always thought in that game, yes, we'd give it a good go, but Barcelona would ultimately score a goal. I think that's what most fans were expecting. And when you got someone like Lionel Messi on the pitch, that one.
Even like Suarez as well, Coutinho, former Liverpool players.
But it was sort of a perfect performance from us. And when the first goal sort of went
early goal as well,
it was an early goal. That's when
the crowd lifted, didn't they?
That's when I maybe not started to believe, but that's when I started to go.
Of course, a player who me and you watched when he first started out at Origi, I remember, watching him against FC Sion in the Europa League and thinking this player's never gonna, he just doesn't look good enough. But he's turned himself into a cult hero after a couple of failed loan moves. He's turned himself into a cult hero. So
not the best player in terms of his output and his statistics. They don't add up at all, to be honest. But he is a cult. Some of the biggest goals that he's got for us have been match winners. Obviously, everyone's gonna go back to that Barcelona game and the 2 goals in that Barcelona game. He's also got the last month goal in the Merseyside derby.
That goal kind of brought him back into it, didn't it?
A goal against Tottenham in the Champions League final.
I think that was the one, wasn't sealed the Champions League final as well. I mean, you might have won without that goal, but that certainly sealed it.
No matter what he actually does now, to be honest, and
he'll always be remembered as a cult hero.
Similar to someone like off the Ilk of Jersey Dudek, who I don't think was the best goalkeeper for us.
Champions League final.
Just a Champions League final, just wrote his name in Liverpool history.
And of course, this season, Premier League winners, last season now, Premier League winners. What was the game that made you think, this is it now, this team's going to go on and win the Premier League? What game did you start to think that?
I think, a lot of Liverpool fans would say it, and I generally think probably the Aston Villa game, where we played awful, the 2-1 game, where we played awful. We went 1-0 down, obviously. I remember Man City going down 1-0
Southampton at home, as well.
But they brought it back much
just
quicker
before,
than what we did.
that was it,
But the 2 goals, like late goals like that, and we didn't play well that day either.
No,
it wasn't proper backs to the wall performance from us.
That was the sign of champions though, and that's what you mean. That's why it must have made you think.
I think it was a determination in the squad that day. I don't think Mane had no rights to even win that header that scored our winner that day. I think he got a boot in his face.
That just sums up Mane's attitude though, doesn't it? That sums up Sadio Mane's attitude as well.
And we had an offside goal that day.
Yeah,
didn't we?
Firmino, the armpit one.
Infamous armpit that
Yeah,
day. But
of course,
we didn't play. We didn't even deserve to win that game, to be honest.
Yeah, that is the sound.
And we had a lot of performances like that, to be honest, last season.
Of course, but you got over the line, and that's why you did win the league so convincingly.
Yeah.
Also, want to touch on the Leicester City game on Boxing Day, away from home. And this was a game of Leicester won that have only gone a few points behind you, but Liverpool completely blew them out of the water. 4-0 victory. You know, what were your thoughts that day? Did that also make you think, wow,
yeah, that was
team...
another sort of performance.
Yeah.
I think that sort of, made any Liverpool fans sort of stand up a little bit and just, to come on Boxing Day as well, a notoriously hard fixture.
And you just got back, don't forget, from the Club World Cup as well. Let's not forget that. You'd only just won that a few days prior, so...
Yeah, it was a tough fixture list at that point for us in December. We sacrificed the FA Cup for the Premier League running and the Club World Cup as well.
And the League Cup it was, wasn't it?
The League Cup,
game.
sorry.
That was it.
Trent was absolutely phenomenal that day.
Absolutely.
And probably his best performance, out performance in the Liverpool shirt.
Yeah, another game after that, Man United at home in January. Liverpool have always had a bit of a mental block against Manchester United, always struggled that little bit, but you got a 2-0 victory. Salah scored a late goal to seal the game. Was that another game as well that you beat Man United that made you think, 'cause you struggled a bit in that game, that made you think, wow, this team now have surely got to do it? Because I think the celebrations kind of, when Alisson of course at the end, that kind of made even Liverpool players believe that this could be it now.
Yeah, we've had Man United have been a bit of a block for us recently for some reason. Even under Solskjaer, who sort of plays more. I fully understand under Jose Mourinho the whole block because he plays
defensive style of football. Even the likes of Van Gaal and you beat them twice under Moyes, but Van Gaal.
I understand under the Mourinho days a little bit of why we struggled against United, because we've always struggled against Jose Mourinho's sides. He's had a lot of infamous performances against us, of course. But Solskjaer plays a different brand of football. Doesn't really go that defensive. Plays attacking. Well, maybe more counter-attacking, I'd say. So I don't know where that block comes from, but it's just stuck in this Liverpool team, to be honest.
Yeah, especially at Old Trafford as well.
Especially at Old Trafford as
well.
One
win there in 11 years, so certainly nothing special there.
Well, it's been a bit of a weird, because we probably had a better track record against United when United were competing for the titles, and we were finishing 6th, 7th.
I'm going to ask that. What's your best memory against Manchester United for you as a Liverpool fan? What's the game, the best performance you remember personally against Manchester United?
I'd probably say the 4-1 in 2009.
I think that's a lot of Liverpool
when we were
fans
chasing for the title. That season, 2009.
Yeah, 2008-9 it was. Away from home, went 1-0 down. And that was when United had Cristiano Ronaldo, probably the best player in the world at the time.
That was probably
This was a great Man United team. They had
Old Trafford as well.
Yeah, this is when Man United had just about to win 3 straight Premier Leagues. They were just the European champions at the time. And the goals were from Torres, I believe, when
he tore Vidic apart that day, didn't he?
Of course, Gerrard, and then 2 unlikely sources, Fabio Aurelio and Andrea Dossena.
And I think Dossena scored
Real Madrid
in the Champions League just in the same week, wasn't it?
Yeah, so crazy to think, really. But that's how, football goes sometimes. And of course, always got to touch on another team your best memories against, and you've probably got a lot against this team, Everton, your local rivals. What's the best memories for you watching Liverpool against Everton?
I don't think the derbies have been great in recent years.
Yeah, of course. Especially at Goodison Park.
There's been quite a few dull games, hasn't there? Let's face it. So
the one after lockdown, especially.
Yeah, the one after lockdown was especially dull as well.
Yeah.
But we have struggled against Everton under Jurgen Klopp. I think we've struggled a little bit against Everton, haven't we?
Yeah, with no defeats, but a few draws here and there.
But our probably best performance against Everton was probably in Martinez's tenure when we beat them 4-0. That was probably by far and away our best performance actually against Everton.
You were here that day, an Everton fan was crying, so it must have been bad for the Everton fan to start crying.
Yeah, I can't remember. I think we had about
37 shots to Everton's 3, I think it was.
70-odd%.
That was Everton on a real downer at that point. They were about to sack Martinez. You weren't at your best. You finished 8th that season. You were about to go to the Europa League final, but you weren't even taking the Premier League seriously at that point. So
I think the games used to be better between Liverpool and Everton.
Yeah, certainly when it was a bit more competitive.
David Moyes was probably in charge.
Definitely.
There used to be a hell of a lot of red cards, and they used to be quite entertaining games. Actually,
but the gap's kind of bridged too much big now. I think Liverpool have got too much better for it to be anything sort of a rivalry. Another thing I want to touch on, best players when watching Liverpool. Of course, I know Steven Gerrard's probably going to be your best. You watched him during his peak years, but other than that, though, that's Fernando Torres, Luis Suarez. Who for you is your favourite Liverpool player to watch? And like as in, who's your favourite Liverpool player? Who you got best memories of?
Yeah, I mean, past Steven Gerrard, obviously. Fernando Torres was probably the first real striker that I sort of fell in love with at Liverpool.
Fantastic.
Michael Owen was a bit before my time.
Fantastic there, wasn't he, Torres?
When we signed him, he was phenomenal in the first season that we signed him. And I've got stronger memories of a lot of our fans actually don't like Torres because of the way that he left the club.
About 3 good years he got out of him, Torres. About 3 good seasons.
And he was probably one of the best strikers in the world at that moment in 2008, 2009 sort of time. He was probably one of the best strikers in the world, and his combination play with Steven Gerrard was just phenomenal.
Those two linked up fantastically, didn't they?
Yeah, he was my first real player first real striker that I'll probably say that I sort of fell in love with, and then after that, Luis Suarez was obviously phenomenal. He had his critics, he did some stupid things, of course, but Liverpool fans loved him.
He was one of them. He plays for you, love him. He's a Diego Costa type player.
I mean, he played against us for Barcelona, and a lot of sort of Liverpool fans have actually turned against him a little bit, but he's one of these characters that's just so driven to winning.
And that 13-14 season was special from Suarez. I mean, there's some of the performances. We watched the one against Tottenham, away from home 5-0. He was absolutely superb. And you know, just stuff like that. It just proves how good Suarez really was on his work rate as well.
I've always remembered his performance against Manchester United.
Yes, of course,
man of the match, Dirk Kuyt got a hat-trick.
Easiest hat-trick he's ever been scored.
I think they were all from about 3 or 4 yards out.
Easiest hat-trick Count will ever score. But, I was also going to ask if you were talking best players. Of course, you've probably got something in the future as well. With lots of Salah, Mane, in terms of favourites. I mean, Van Dijk, Alisson, and players like that. Who's your favourite Liverpool player in terms of like the one with the best work rate, maybe the one who just captures your heart and you just really like? Of course, you mentioned Dirk Kuyt just then. He's certainly got to be one of them. James Milner, Jordan Henderson, players like that. Who's your favourite like cult hero sort of thing for you?
I mean, I would probably in recent memory, I would probably say Jordan Henderson, just because I think he's had his critics in the past from Liverpool fans, from probably myself as well in the past. But he's sort of stepped above that line and just carried on doing what he does best, and he's not the best technical player out there. Everyone knows that. But the determination that he shows on the pitch, his leadership is critical to us. We miss him so much when he's not playing, to be honest, and the stats actually back that up as well. Dirk Kuyt, another one you mentioned. He scored a hell of a lot of goals, and his work rate was just insane.
Really was.
Maxi Rodriguez. He worked out, scored some big goals.
Scored a couple of hat-tricks in a week at one point of his career. 2 hat-tricks in a week against Birmingham and Fulham, I believe it was.
It was.
They were a strange one.
And Luis Garcia probably as well.
He's a brilliant player.
He was a decent little player that never really got the praise that he deserved at that time.
Remember that goal against Juventus, of course, beating Buffon from 40 yards out. Of course, I've got to ask you now, your best game as a Liverpool fan, a game that just made you stand up and say, I'm proud to be a Liverpool fan?
You can hate me for this one. Probably Arsenal, when we
Which one?
5-1, when we scored 4 goals in 20 minutes.
Oh God, don't remind me of that game.
I thought you'd hate me for that one, but probably that one, just because of the shock factor.
That was the Brendan. We were top of the league at that point
as
well.
You were chasing us too badly.
You were chasing us down. I mean, everyone thought Liverpool were going to fade away due to the poor defence. But of course, you did have games that season when you blew teams out of the water. But
that was the sort of performance that sort of made noises around the
world. Amazingly, in that game, Liverpool didn't. Luis Suarez didn't even score in that game. Your talisman that year, it was 2 from Skirtle, 2 from Sterling, and then 1 from Daniel Sturridge. I remember that game very well.
I mean, probably that game. That's a game that instantly comes. Oh, there's plenty of games obviously out there.
That's one that made you go crazy. Of course, got to ask this. Unfortunately, your worst memories, Liverpool fan, as in the most defeat that's just made you feel so low, it's took you a while to pick up from.
You could go back to a couple depending on the circumstances.
Circumstances could be a thing, or it could just be a game where you've lost to a team and just been utterly embarrassed. Or
I mean, I think that Chelsea game, obviously.
Under Brendan Rodgers.
That was
the damage that must have done. And the fact of the Steven Gerrard moment as well.
That took a while to get over. The Crystal Palace game just sort of added on to that misery as well. Straight after. Not that I don't think had a chance of even winning the title, but it was just that was it. Players were crying on the pitch.
That was it.
But then also back in the Roy Hodgson era, we lost I think we lost on penalties to Northampton.
Yeah, Blackpool as well in the Premier League. Doubled in the Premier League that season by Blackpool.
Lost to Portsmouth, I think, who were relegated that season.
That was
as
the year
well.
before. That was under Rafa Benitez.
Yeah, so we've had a couple. We've had quite a few couple.
I mean, every team has had them, of course. But yeah, other things as well. Of course, Liverpool. I mean, mention your best player. I'm not going to mention your worst player. We don't want to shame people on the channel. But I mean, of course, great memories. What's the best trophy? I'd say you've the most. I mean, you could already say the Premier League, but not the best trophy, but the most satisfying trophy. It's got to be the Premier League, surely.
Yeah, I mean, that's certainly for Liverpool fans after 30 years.
Yeah,
it's a hell of a long wait. Yeah. I've never seen us win the league title in my lifetime. Last time we won the league title, '89.
Of course, Champions League, you say, is bigger than the Premier League.
Yeah, that's what I would.
But for Liverpool, though, haven't won the Premier League in 30 years.
I mean, it was a difficult one for us to measure up because I think, normal circumstances, winning the Premier League for Liverpool fans would outrank the Champions League because of how long it's been. But with there being no fans, it sort of takes away the edge a little bit.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? From last season, with no, to finish off the season, to lift the title with no fans, still great achievement. Still phenomenal, but it wasn't the same sort of feeling. The Champions League the year before, we had the trophy parade, didn't we?
Yeah.
We're going to have a Premier League trophy parade.
Eventually,
Depending on what we're doing this season, we could be struggling fighting for a Champions League place this season and having a trophy parade this season.
I will touch on that actually. Of course, during the season you were dominating so much, and then coronavirus starts. Mm-hmm. How worried were you as a Liverpool fan that you might not even get the trophy after all the season?
There was talk of it, and it worried any Liverpool fan.
Yeah, of course it did.
But also, I sort of thought that it was too late in the season. They were going to have to
give Liverpool the title, which Liverpool fans wouldn't have liked.
No, but, we wouldn't have liked that, to be honest, at the same time.
That didn't happen. You did get there in the end, so I guess it's not really a big...
at least we got the points that we needed, and we wrapped it up at the end of the day. So, but no, it was a great achievement last season.
Last question, where do you see this Liverpool team going in the next couple of years?
Well, this Liverpool team are in the prime of their careers now.
Yeah, agree.
I think we need some more additions to this team, just to freshen up the legs.
Yeah.
But it's not the end of the world, I don't think, if we don't. But with Man City, Chelsea have made huge strides this transfer market, obviously. Manchester United are making a couple of signings and looking a bit better than that. We're going to have more of a challenge, I think, in the coming seasons, to be honest. But this Liverpool team is in the prime now. I think all of our front three are 28 years old now. I think the back four is pretty much Van Dijk's 29 in the prime of his career. Alisson's coming into the prime of his career. So this is a team that's ready for challenging now, you know, and hopefully we can just win a few more trophies in the near future. Yeah,
that's absolutely it. Thanks very much. That is all we've got time for today. Thank you, Josh, for being a guest on the channel. And everyone, please like, share, and subscribe, and I'll be back soon. Thank you very much.